Coming to you live from deep within an icy, radioactive land, we are the survivors of the apocalypse, the few, the brave, the bitchy, once more wading into battle against the foggy hordes with Rantzerker 79. Welcome to the men's rights activist cult. The men's rights activist cult. Not the men's rights movement cult, or the men's rights cult. The men's rights activist cult. The men's rights activist cult. The individual singular men's rights activist cult.
Oh, okay. Anyhow, because she calls us the MRA.
Yeah, we are the MRA. We're not the men's rights movement. We are the men's rights activist. We all collectively we're sort of like a Voltron, except demonic, I guess. Or
we are Borg.
We are Borg. So we just all come together to form one gigantic, singular men's rights activist.
And we will add your cultural distinctiveness and technological distinctiveness to our collective.
Okay, that was slightly sinister. All right, so this particular piece is Cracked. 5 ways the men's rights activist sucks people in like some god-awful cult.
You know, and I'm gonna address one of the comments in the ad. You know, that anybody who takes Cracked seriously since that they're a humor site and it should be seen as satire. But maybe it is. I don't fucking know but they've been doing so much social justice-y stuff, and so much of that is completely unfunny. I mean, you can do social justice in a funny way. You can actually make it mildly amusing. I used to watch The Daily Show and laugh frequently. There have been times when I have laughed. I laughed at some of, Jimmy Kimmel's monologue, for the Oscars and stuff. Like, you giggle, right? Because it's actually funny. But the fact that they do these social justice-y kind of pieces every now and then, and that they so consistently fail to make anybody giggle, they're not trying to be funny. I don't think so. There you go.
I don't think so either. I'm pretty sure this was the one where they said they clarified that feminism. No, this isn't a cult. Do they ever do this with feminism? Like, are there any cracked articles how feminism is a cult?
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe there are. Who the hell knows? But I wouldn't know.
Somebody in chat, Google that, and then inform us if it's true. Anyway, this is like 15 minutes long when it was codified, read out by the codger, so that we could respond to it. So I'm like, we'll do an hour live for you guys, but then everything else is going to be after show, because fucking hell. I mean, I'm actually a little nervous about this one, because after Mike finished codifying it, he was like, I asked him, do you want to come on and respond to it? And he's like, no, just no. It was
okay.
It was so painful that he does not want to engage with it any further.
All right.
I think this is going to be interesting.
It can't be as bad as women's studies professor Rebecca Sullivan of the University of Calgary. It can't be that bad.
Well, I guess we'll find out. But okay. So if you want to see the after show of this, whatever ends up being in the after show, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com/honeybadgerradio. Okay, let's begin.
All right.
Ahem. 5 ways the MRA indoctrinates new members with cult tactics. By Teresa Lee. If you spent any time on the internet, which you probably have considering you're on it right now, you may have encountered the special brand of internet civilians that call themselves men's rights activists. They hang out in a place called the Red Pill.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No, I mean, that's like, okay, is there any point in continuing to address this? Like, really? Is there any point whatsoever? And that man better not ring my doorbell. Because it'll get the dog barking. Okay, good. Is there any fucking point at this point in time when people are still repeating this bullshit that You know, and I know it's not, you know, you could say, oh, well, maybe this is a sign that it's satire. Yeah, no, because there's too many people still making the claim, just in perfect sincerity and seriousness. So,
Okay, but here's the question: if it's satire, why would they have made such a? Or so are they satirizing the general attitude of the media toward? Because
that's what I would think, because they're making all the classic mistakes, right? The MRA instead of the MRM, and the red pill instead of
anything that actually has to do with men's rights. Like there is literally, you guys, media, there is literally a Reddit forum called Men's Rights.
Yeah. Maybe they'll mention it later on.
Oh, perhaps. Okay, let's
we're going in dry, me and Alison, in this. Like we choose, generally we don't watch the entire video or read the entire article. When we choose something, we read about, paragraph in, and then we're like, okay, that's one we're doing. So
we often make mistakes, and then you guys point us out.
We have to bite the pillow. Bite the pillow, because we're going in dry.
All right.
Which is a group on Reddit that describes itself as a discussion of sexual strategy in a culture increasingly lacking a positive identity for men. In other words, men aren't getting laid like they used to, and that makes them mean mad. Okay, what? Those two things have nothing to do with each other.
That's like the book The Rules being billed as, men aren't marrying women anymore, and men are commitment phobes, and therefore we're mean mad, and we're gonna, like, I don't know,
abduct men,
marriage rape them or something. I don't know what you would call
abduct
it.
them,
and
force them with shotguns to the wedding.
To the altar, but.
How is going from like sexual, like advice in your sexual relationships to rape? How did that happen? How did we end up here?
It hasn't gone to rape yet, right? Just to be fair, men are mad that they're not having sex as much as they used to. When in reality, I think probably there's more sex going on than there ever was back in, the heyday of patriarchy. But
when a man had to actually put a ring on it and buy a house to actually get sex, they're mad now. They're mad now. Women no longer.
They just have to like get a beer bong and fucking spray some Axe on their bodies, and they've got a shot at getting laid, right?
Oh, but now they're getting angry.
Now they're mad
because we've changed the sexual landscape so that sex, you don't have to get married to a woman to have it.
You don't have to put like $4,000 into a piece of jewelry that she gets to wear.
And I'm only saying this from the context of what they're talking about, the way that they view. Well, 50 years ago, men could go to jail for having sex with a woman and not marrying her. So this doesn't even make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any freaking sense in the context of the laws. All right.
Okay.
Yep.
When I first heard about the red pill, I wrote it off as simply another group of sexually frustrated baby boys who hate women. While their arguments were infuriating, I figured they were essentially a sad dad's club with little effect on people outside their group.
How could it be? Well, dads by definition have gotten sex.
It's just like they're rolling all of the insults that they can muster against men into some gigantic misandry Tamagotchi, like one of those. That ball in that Japanese game that you roll and you just sort of absorb shit. That's this. They've absorbed every insult.
It's like
randomly.
They're man babies. The Tamagotchi is the pet that made that broke the hearts of every freaking 6-year-old on the planet because they died when you forgot to feed them, right? and they weren't as obnoxious as a cat or a dog, right? They're like a house plant, right? That's why I don't have any house plants, because they all die, because they don't whine, they don't make noise, they don't jump up on you, they don't bark,
They
they
just
don't
quietly
meow.
die.
They just quietly die from neglect, and they never complain, right? And it's like you walk by and you go, oh, that could use some watering. I'll get to that in a minute, and then you don't.
Are you
right?
sure you only have 3 children?
That I only gave birth to 3 children and several of them just like wasted away on the way out of neglect, or what?
Just kidding.
No, but my style of parenting does serve its purposes. My children are capable of surviving in any environment just by looking for crumbs at the bottom of the pantry shelves. So
Excellent. I didn't mean to. Anyway, let's continue. Let's
right.
see what else they have to say.
Okay.
Their arguments were infuriating. I figured they were essentially a sad dad's club with little effect on people outside their group. But I did a little more investigating after I looked into it. I realized the red pill is more harmful than I'd thought. It's basically a cult. You know, like Scientology.
Oh, science, because hypergamy is exactly like fucking the whole idea that
aliens.
we're alien, or the alien intergalactic war thing. I don't know enough about Scientology.
Thetans, something barking rainbows.
Metachlorians and oh wait, that's Star Wars. Never mind.
No, it could be basically the same thing. Who cares? But I like how in this one, I mean, the previous one that we did, and I do not recall what show we did it on, they were comparing it. Feminism was the cult, or they were saying, oh.
No. We were doing one, and we were actually just rewording it and putting men in place of women and feminism in place of men's rights. And we found that everything that they were saying about, the red pill, rather, everything that they were saying, everything that they were saying about the red pill was actually applicable to feminism.
Yeah, probably more solidly too.
Yeah, we were flipping, we were doing the gender swap version of it, and it was like coming out much more sensible. So,
but that being said, they did say in that they were saying that the red pill is a cult, and they were saying, look at their definition of feminism. Not that feminism is a cult, but now they're is it just me, or are these like suspiciously similar? Like all of these media articles.
Well, they're trying, and they're sort of, oh, that's a neat angle I could take to try and discredit these people, right? And it's like, essentially, it's sort of, it gets in vogue, it starts trending, the whole, oh, here's a new way to attack them, right? And it starts trending, right? So, what I find interesting is like when they talk about cult-like behavior and stuff. Well, what's more cult-like than, I mean, and I'm going to use an example from, Black Lives Matter, that chant that they do, we have nothing to lose but our chains, right? That's a cult tactic, right? To chant a mantra over and over and over again. Same with he will not divide us, he will not divide us, he will not divide us, that Shia LaBeouf project, right? To stand there in front of a camera and just repeat, he will not divide us, he will not divide us, he will, when you look at the behavior of these people when they go to shut an event down, a men's rights event down, or a men's issues event down, or someone like Jordan Peterson down, and they start chanting these sort of mantras, right? And, you have a chant leader, and then you have the chant followers, and it's very much like the whole sort of process in church during mass, when the priest says peace be with you, and everybody just recites automatically and also with you, and and you stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, and it's all this ritualized stuff, right? That's actually a hallmark of that kind of thing, not the shit that we do. Right?
Yeah,
the shit that we do is just spaghetti strewn, like spewed everywhere, right?
I'm trying to think anything that I mean, God damn it.
Do we have a chant?
No, I don't.
Hey,
what?
Hey, ho, ho, you MRAs
Please get in the
got to
fucking
go.
car so we can get to get fucking supper. That's pretty much the chant. Hey ho,
Yeah, no,
hey
no.
ho.
I
Get
mean,
in the fucking car. It's time for supper.
the only
That's about
chants
it.
the only chants that I know are the ones that are used by people when they come and protest us. You know, like, hey, MRAs, sexist, racist, anti-gay, right? And hey, ho, ho, MRAs have got to go. And women hold up half the sky. MRAs stop telling lies. And
Yeah, no, like this, I can tell you, like, it usually comes down to me to shit. And most of the people in this movement are very,
we ain't followers.
yeah, they're not really follow-y types. They're pretty independent. They're like Karen's saying, there's no real chance. I can't think of a single men's rights activist chant. And I don't know what to call our particular group, but
And fucking dealing with any of us is like herding fucking cats. A bunch of fucking
I think you're worse than cats.
Autistic cats.
Yes, autistic cats would be, because you can pick cats up and squish them together and be like, yeah, you got to deal with it because I'm taking you over here now. But no, I can't pick you guys.
Put them all in a fucking sack and, like, you know, stick them in the trunk of the car if you have to, right?
But I can't really do that with you guys. So it will take me an hour just to get everybody, and the people sitting in like the freaking living room saying, I'm hungry. I'm like, well, we're trying to move towards the car, people.
Or we're trying to figure out what to order for takeout.
Yeah, like that.
Do you have any input?
Do you have anything that you can eat? Because this is the other thing. Everybody's allergic to.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
we're just fucking freaks.
Spaghetti. Yeah. Spaghetti is definitely what we are.
Yeah, except none of us can eat it because it's got gluten.
Oh fuck. Fucking.
Anyhow.
And eggs. Eggs are the worst. All right, let's move on.
Only with much less attractive members.
How does she even know? How does this author even know how attractive any of these men are? Okay, like that. Okay, maybe those the photoshopped photos that made Crystal Garcia look like a crack whore, and Sage Gerard looked like he was some kind of fucking inbred serial killer straight out of Deliverance. Okay, but only with a clown wig. But I don't know. I only know what one person, and I actually do spend a little bit of time on R the Red Pill, and I'm familiar with most of I only know what one of them looks like. Just one.
I guess she can intuit their attractiveness from text. Oh, I think Teresa's the name of the woman who wrote this. I think I can intuit attractiveness through text too.
Oh, I think she's probably about 300 pounds, and she's very heavily into body positivity. She's a big, beautiful woman. I can just tell.
I used to be the second fattest girl in my fucking high school. I boggle at today. I just boggle at it.
Oh, I know. When I was a kid, when I was in elementary school, and I had, you know, they were the two fat Donnas, and they were both my friends, and they were both named Donna, and they were both fat. And they were notable for being the two fat Donnas because there were maybe like 5 fat kids in the entire school who would be considered fat by today's standards.
Yeah, but were the fat Donnas really that fat? Not looking back.
Looking back, they were not as fat as we would consider.
Hello?
I'm here.
Yeah, I asked, were the fat Donnas really that fat when you look back at it?
Looking back, they were not as fat as, you know, they probably were less fat than, you know, we would have thought by today's standards. Yeah, they'd have been like on the lower edge of fat rather than the upper percentile that's of
the
fat.
Thing. I was the second fattest. The fattest girl, actually, by today's standards, she probably would have gotten a job as a plus model, or could have. So she was on
like
the lower
size 14, size 16, or whatever.
Probably a little higher than that, like 18. Size 18.
Yeah. That's around where the Donnas were. There was none of this size 27 or whatever.
No, and it's like that's now almost average size. I like I said, the mind boggles. It does. Okay.
Okay, but we went off on a tangent. Okay, but we're positive that Theresa Lee is size 26 minimum.
Yeah, but we only know this based on the text.
Also, she has cankles.
We're using Teresa's ability to intuit attractiveness through text.
Yeah.
But continue, Brian.
In May 1997, Philip Zimbardo published a piece for the American Psychological Association titled What Messages Are Behind Today's Cults? The practices of the Red Pill line up with Zimbardo's findings. A former Red Pill member even wrote an entry in the Red Pill Detox group about how he believed he had been brainwashed into joining a cult when he was part of the group. Also, the fact that a Red Pill Detox exists for ex-members to help each other deprogram their beliefs doesn't bode well for the MRAs' existence.
Okay, okay. How many fucking things did you just conflate here? Like,
Okay.
there is no, as far as I know, there is no men's rights movement detox fucking forum. Sorry, go ahead, Karen.
So, but how many times have I read articles from former SJWs and former feminists who have essentially said it was like coming out of being brainwashed, right? And I think for, a lot of people, any ideology has the potential to be taken, to be internalized to the extent, to the level that one would consider that they're brainwashed, whether it's even just like, sort of moderate left-wing or moderate right-wing politics, right? Libertarianism has the potential to become a cult. Communism has the potential to become a cult. Like all of these, if you look at just how certain people are predisposed to internalize different ideologies when they appeal to them. So,
yeah. Okay, let's continue.
While there isn't a quantitative list of what defines a cult, experts in psychology agree on a few telltale signs. Perhaps this is why Scientology views psychiatry as the enemy and bringer of death. And guess what? Much like Scientology, the Red Pill fits the description of a cult in a disturbing way. Cults are not only harmful to society, but for its members as well. In fact, it may arguably be more harmful to its members than for the friends and family they've isolated themselves from.
Okay, but how is it harmful to society?
Well, that's presumably she is going to get into that. So,
like, because honestly, cults don't have to be harmful to society. A lot of people think that, like, the Hare Krishnas and stuff, they think of those as a cult. I wouldn't think of those as damaging to society. The Raelians, right, who
Rail?
drank. No, who the thought that the world was gonna end and the alien ship was gonna come down and get them, and they just had to drink some poison and prepare themselves, right? I don't think that they were particularly harmful to society. Cults generally remain small, and the reason why they remain small is because the answers that they provide, right, are generally based either around a cult of personality, around a single leader who does not live up to, so you got a David Koresh, right, who's the reincarnation of Christ. He's the second coming of Christ, according to him, but he's fucking all the women and he's fucking all their daughters, right? You got that kind of thing. Or you have Charles Manson, right, who's telling his followers to go out and like murder people and shit. Or you have something that is so outlandish, right? Your leader can tell the future, or your leader can read people's minds, or your belief system is based on, aliens, vaporizing the world, but they're going to stop and pick you up before they do that, right? And bring you off to like someplace in a spaceship, right? So, I mean, that's what separates cults from belief systems is either the claims are totally outlandish or they're based on the charismatic leader who often just does not live by he doesn't practice what he preaches. So
Yeah. Well, so let us let's find out some more. What?
okay.
Red pill's existence is like a studded butt plug that everyone has to share. So how exactly is it a cult? Well.
Okay,
Number
all right,
5.
wait, just
How does she have to share the butt plug?
okay, but could we go back a little bit and just listen to everything leading up to the butt plug? Because I didn't catch that. It's fucking baffling.
Members as well. In fact, it may arguably be more harmful to its members than for the friends and family they've isolated themselves from. The red pill's existence is like a studded butt plug that everyone has to share. So how exactly is it a cult?
Who's everyone? Who's everyone?
I think she means all of society because the red pill is part of society, and therefore she's argued that already that it's harmful to society without exactly telling us how. But another thing about cults too is that they recommend that you isolate yourself from your family and your friends, and I don't think the red pill actually does that. I've never heard any of that recommended on any of their forums, that you should, essentially just abandon your family and your friends because they're incapable of understanding you or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so basically there's nothing that really it's a Reddit forum where they have a particular idea of how the world works. They don't advocate people isolating themselves from their friends or family. They don't have a charismatic leader.
They don't want money. They don't have one charismatic figurehead, right? They don't, and any figureheads they do have live according to the principles espoused, right? Like they're out there trying to get laid, right? And there's no like spaceships or
so functionally
metachlorians involved.
That functionally they're absolutely nothing like a cult. Okay, let's continue.
Okay.
Well, number 5. Nobody decides to join a cult. Philip Zimbardo. Much like hipsters in 2007, you could spot one by how mad it gets when you call it a hipster. Cults don't call themselves cults. They call themselves churches, or clubs, or your friends.
Okay, so basically, this is a Kafka trap, because she's saying if they say they're not a cult, that's just proof that they're a cult, because that's what a cult would say. Right? Yeah. Oh, if you accuse someone and they say I'm innocent, and you say that's exactly what a guilty person would say, bang the gavel, lock him up.
Well, it is even more. I mean, she's just to set this idea that you can be in a cult without even knowing you're in a, and that's what makes it a cult. But, yeah. So even if you say I'm not in a cult, you could say, well, you wouldn't know. That doesn't even. How is that a criteria for using cult tactics or being in a cult? Not knowing you're in a cult.
Yeah.
So if you know you're in a cult, you're not in a cult. Like
no, it literally applies to everything. If you're in a cult and you know it, you're in a cult. If you're in a cult and you don't know it, you are in a cult. If you're not in a cult and you claim to not be in a cult because you don't believe you're in one, well, that's just proof that you're in a cult. Right? There really is no way to win.
You just don't know it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue, Brian.
Common recruiting tactics for the Church of Scientology. Stress tests and personality tests. They target people who suffer from blocks in their relationships, career, and other endeavors. So just about any person who is alive enough to operate a number 2 pencil. When new recruits take these tests, which are in no way scientific...
Okay, wait.
What tests did...
Okay. Literally, she just said, okay, the Church of Scientology targets anyone who can hold a number 2 pencil, because the criteria for who they target are extremely broad. It's people with problems in their personal life, or people who suffer depression, or people who have difficult relationships with their parents, or people who are vulnerable in some way, and that's pretty much everyone who can hold a number 2 pencil. Therefore, every individual in North American society is a target of the Church of Scientology, and that's how they are so successful in being able to target the people who are really vulnerable to their ideology or something. Like, it doesn't even make any sense.
Continue.
The recruiters can tailor their pitch to present a religion that is an exact fit for their insecurities. Members join Scientology to seek a better life and are promised a path to achieving their goals through the church. The red pill is similar, but instead of self-actualization, the goals revolve around boner distribution.
What?
Said ex...
So there was nothing similar about it. You just gave, like, they have to take a test. The recruiter customizes what there's pitch to the person. Like, everything there is a recruiter, there's a test, like customization of the pit. There's no connection here. You're just saying random words.
Yeah, no, it's like you go on the red pill and you look at it, and some people are like, oh, this looks interesting, and some people are like, this looks fucked up, and those people leave. And nobody is like,
it's not interesting.
Nobody is like jamming their foot in the door and saying, oh, wait, but here's what the red pill can do for you, and chasing them down the fucking sidewalk, right? I mean, there is some customization, or actually not customization, generalization of red pill philosophies to other things other than sex. They, like, there is a claim made on our pill that maintaining a masculine frame, learning, hitting the gym, making yourself more attractive, exuding confidence, all of it, building up your ability to project confidence, and all of those things can help you in other areas of your life, not just in getting laid, but in maintaining long-term relationships, in dealing with your friends, in dealing with difficult people, in dealing with your career.
Okay. I just, let's pose the challenge. You have said that the recruitment methods of Scientology, which sound very aggressive, resemble the recruitment methods of the red pill, except there are no recruiters, and there are no recruitment methods. But let's see if you can actually square this circle. Teresa, hit it, Brian.
Red pill on his experience. I was joining a cool fucking group of cool fucking guys who were going to teach me how to do cool fucking things, like getting laid. You can imagine how this might be appealing to someone who that hasn't had much luck with women in the past. The red pill, like Scientology, preys on the insecurities of people to recruit new members into the cult.
What? No. That means that everything plays...
That every single
equivalence.
Every single product that offers a solution to a problem is now preying on people's vulnerabilities and insecurities.
Your tennis shoes.
My biscuit joiner.
Are a cult.
My biscuit joiner is indicative of a cult that exists in the entire field, the entire trade of woodworking and carpentry, because it solves a very common joinery problem, as in making strong joints in wood is very difficult. It's time consuming, it's cumbersome, it's extremely exacting. And here's this solution. It's a biscuit joiner, and it's like super easy. And you literally only need to be able to hold a number 2 pencil. You don't even need to be able to operate a tape measure.
Okay, so the only connection here now, we see Scientology has aggressive recruitment methods. It tailors the recruitment. It uses tests. It has recruiters, for fuck's sake, who do recruitment pitches. And then we have the red pill, which does none of that.
Yeah, no, I know. It's like there's no entry exam into the red pill. It's essentially if you choose to jump into the deep end, you'll either climb out sooner or later, from the pool. It'll be at the end you jumped in on, or it'll be at the other end, after having, learned what you can, right? Got what you can out of it. And it's like, and then you go. and certainly there will be some disillusioned members. I mean, like, there will be some people who say this didn't work for me.
Oh, I wonder if this is an elaborate troll to get us to defend the red pill and say, oh, look, they defended the red pill, therefore they are the red pill.
Oh my God. I don't fucking know. But, you know, honestly, I think the red pill is like Trump, right? There's plenty of stuff to complain about Trump. Plenty of actual stuff to complain about. But everybody's so focused on essentially saying Trump and the red pill are literally Nazis, right? Or literally a cult, I guess, that, you know, I just, you can't not, I can't not call out lies.
Yeah, especially when they say men's rights activists are this and then this is bad. It's like,
True.
all right, let's continue.
Okay. I just want to say that I was thinking about this boner distribution thing. Can you hear
Brian.
me? Yes.
Are you there?
What separates the red pill and Scientology from any other community group looking to grow its members? According to Zimbardo, they become cults when they are seen as deceptive, defective, dangerous, or as opposing basic values of their society.
So everything that you disagree with is a cult, essentially.
Yeah, no, essentially transgressing or opposing basic values of even people who are non-feminist and even many people who are anti-feminist embrace many of the ideas that are contained within feminism. Anything that is anti-feminist is essentially can be described as anti the views of our society and therefore a cult.
All right, so anti-segregation, also a cult.
Yeah.
Anti-slavery, a cult.
Yeah, it was absolutely a cult.
Brian, just let's hit it.
Oh, yeah, no, and
Okay.
and anti-LGBT rights, right? You know, because hey, gay sex used to be, you know, in the criminal statutes.
Pro-LGBT, pro-gay rights.
But yeah, pro-gay rights was a cult. It was it went against the grain of society's values.
Anything that goes against the mainstream is a cult. So why are you arguing that in the patriarchal culture, men's rights is a cult?
And why are
Doesn't that contradict your premise?
Yeah, your premise is that feminism is the counterculture movement. It's the grassroots. It's the underdog. You guys should be calling yourselves the cult.
Maybe this is satire. Okay, continue.
I don't know.
Number 4. Cults insist on reprogramming the way people see the world. Adrian Furnham. Cults insist that they are the only ones that know the truth about society. They teach ideology that goes against commonly accepted notions while dehumanizing people outside their group. For an example of this, look no further than feminism. Sorry, feminism is not a cult. I mean their definition of
these people! It was this one! It was this one! Oh.
Okay,
this is golden. It's because feminism doesn't tell people that it knows the truth about the world.
I
you
know.
have to be constant vigilance against the thetans or whatever the fuck, the patriarchal impulses that drive you to sin. No, it doesn't say any of that.
I know, your internalized misogyny and
blah blah blah. And it doesn't even have recruitment drives.
Yeah, no. You know, honestly, like Erin Pizzey used to talk about when she first decided to join feminism, and she did sort of, you know, throw herself into it for a few months, right? And but she said that what ended up turning her off of it was the consciousness raising meetings, right? So essentially, you were all brought together into a place, like, I don't know, the masculinist version of this would be the drum circle, I guess, right? So you were all in one place and you were all sharing and raising consciousness and like doing these kinds of, and you even saw this in the Red Pill movie where Cassie was, you know, going to that feminist event and everybody was like, you know, take your partner and join hands and, okay, gaze into each other's faces and really feel a connection between the two of you as women and all of this other shit, right? Okay, yeah. So like I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in a men's rights group. I've seen things similar to that in terms of the mythopoetic men's movement and sort of the men's liberation movement, because they were taking feminist practices and trying to apply them to men. But I don't see anything like that in the men's rights community.
Nope.
And I definitely don't see any of that in the red pill.
And also the dehumanization. Everybody outside of feminism either got internal misogynies or engages in a practice that most societies find abhorrent, which is targeting women for violence and marginalization.
Yeah, no, it's like if you're not a feminist, then you hate women, right? If you're not a feminist, then you're a bigot. There is no in between. Gloria Allred.
If you're not a feminist, you hate those people that literally comprise the belonging of a society. You know, your mom is your first experience of belonging in a human relationship, and that sort of extends over all women. It's the women are wonderful effect. Look it up. And they're saying that anybody who isn't a feminist literally hates your mom. Oh God.
Yeah.
All right, let's pick it up.
Here's how the red pill defines feminism in their official glossary.
No, I remember this.
doctrine
This is
built-
very familiar. Is this not familiar?
I have not read it.
I know, but this is the same thing as we remember we reviewed the other thing that wrote on Are the Red Pill? Remember? This is I'm pretty sure this is identical wording. Just give me a second here. I'm gonna look it up. This I just don't remember where the other one was.
It was on the New Statesman.
New Statesman. Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you. We're just ignoring you.
New Statesman red pill.
Okay.
Just Google
New
that.
statements. I'm looking at spitting out the red pill.
Mhm.
Former misogynists deal with blah 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 blah. Okay, feminism. Oh. Okay. All right. Let's see. This is by Amelia. Remember Amelia Tate?
Yes, Amelia Taint. Taint a cunt. A taint a cunt and a taint an anus. It's something in between. Not taint, actually. It's Tate, but...
Oh, no. Okay, so this is slightly different. No,
Yeah,
wrong. I'm wrong. This is different. Sorry. Weird tangent.
But essentially, she's essentially saying that because I'm guessing that that's this Jessica, Rebecca, or whatever Teresa Lee, is saying that because the red pill accuses feminism of being essentially a cult or a religion, that that proves that they themselves are a cult, because they essentially accuse feminism of the things that she's accusing the red pill of. Or
How
something.
circuitous. All right, let's continue.
Yeah.
Built on the presupposition of victimhood of women by men as a foundation of female identity. In its goal is always the utilization of the state to forcibly redress this claimed victimization. In other words, the proxy use of violence and wealth appropriation. In whatever flavor and variation, these two basic features are common to every doctrine using the label feminism.
I don't see anything inaccurate there.
No, there's nothing inaccurate about it. What do they think that the patriarchy...
Seven separate federal departments for women's health and well-being. What do they think the National Organization of Women being able to demand a sit down with the President of the United States, like that and the fact that these are powerful political lobby groups, and the fact that they're trying to institute mandatory gender sensitivity counseling for all judges and potential judges in Canada right now. They should be schooled in feminism before they are allowed to ascend the bench.
Yeah, that's I hate to say it, but the amount of government influence that feminism has, and the fact that when it gets that government influence, you end up with this net transfer of wealth from men to women, in the government, which is
Yeah.
documentable. There's a paper trail with that. This statement seems like a reflection of reality.
Oh, and the state using proxy violence. Well, what would you call a couple of cops showing up at your door and arresting you because a woman isn't happy with you, because a woman she's in a disagreement with you.
And furthermore, why wouldn't this be the case considering feminist rhetoric? Feminist rhetoric is that there's a class warfare between men and women, and men are winning, and that the government should intervene to enforce laws preferentially for women to prevent men from abusing them, to get in there and give money to women to prevent men from leaving them in poverty, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like, and where do you think that the force comes from? It comes from men with guns. Okay.
Yeah.
We got to make our.
In other words, the proxy use of violence and wealth appropriation. In whatever flavor and variation, these two basic features are common to every doctrine using the label feminism. Feminism is therefore a doctrine of class hatred and violence.
Yes.
Compare that to Merriam-Webster's definition, the theory of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. Clearly, there's a disconnect here that aims to reprogram the way their members see
there's
the
a
world.
disconnect. Fucking clearly, there's a disconnect between what feminists say they are and what they actually are.
And it isn't like the Webster's dictionary, isn't that like part of the status quo?
Yeah.
Which essentially, if the status quo supports women's
Male
equality,
privilege.
privilege, it doesn't make sense.
If the status quo supports male privilege, right, and is oppressive to women, then feminism would have a very different definition in the dictionary.
Oh yeah, but they never clarify these inconsistent logic.
Yeah, no, they don't.
And furthermore, what you say you are doesn't necessarily fall out that's what you are. I mean, you use this. These individuals use this against us all the time. We say we're about men's human rights, and they say no, you're about men's privileges. Well,
she just say, right, that cults say there's something different than what they actually are. Didn't she just say that in the previous fucking section, that a cult won't identify itself as a cult, right? Because, there's a stigma to the word cult. So, feminism would probably not identify itself as a supremacy movement because, supremacy movements kind of have a bad reputation.
oh man. And furthermore, how can feminism say it's about equality when it will not measure the men's side the same degree that it measures the women's side? By definition, it can't be about equality. Either feminism, well, first of all, why would it call itself feminism if it cared about men? But regardless, if feminism wants to be about equality, then it has to be willing, ready, and able to measure both sides and falsify its assumptions about reality, such as patriarchy theory. I'd like to see the evidence that feminism has actually done the effort to falsify patriarchy theory. That is to go in and find evidence that their theories are not correct, are wrong, and have demonstrated that they failed to find evidence that their theories are wrong, to the satisfaction of people who are not particularly inclined to believe that patriarchy exists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on.
To Merriam-Webster's definition, the theory of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. Clearly, there's a disconnect here that aims to reprogram the way their members see the world. The red pill's name is derived from a Matrix analogy about truth. In the movie The Matrix, Lawrence Fishburne is all like, "Bro, if you take the blue pill, you'll stay ignorant. But if you take the red pill, I'll show you how to dodge bullets and cool trench coats with your mind." Or something like that.
No, it's, bro, if you take the blue pill, you'll still think that blacks are inferior. But if you take the red pill, you'll see that they're just as human as you are.
Okay, Brian, continue.
Analogy is rooted in the idea of reprogramming its members to see the truth. Everything before joining the red pill is referred to as blue pill, and their new members attest to a sense of being reborn in the same way that religious cult victims do. Here's a quote from a Red Pill member describing how he felt when he first started changing his ways to fit into the group. This, I find, is probably the most useful tool for getting rid of Blue Pill during the early transitional phase. My friend and I would say this to each other regularly whenever we had a one-itis, and it stung at first, but it was like being reborn. By the way, one-itis is a term that means liking someone if they are the one, despite a lack of reciprocation. Scientology does this kind of reprogramming with its members as well. They teach their members that psychology is a global conspiracy of murder, and that our bodies contain evil aliens that are the cause of all physical and mental illness.
Wait a second. So what they're saying is that these guys would, and one-itis is specifically about a man fixating on a woman because he's convinced that she's the one.
Yeah.
So that what they're doing is they're telling them that this is a problem that they have and that they need to get over it. Isn't that what feminism? Like she's not into you. You should stop trying to make her into you. Isn't that...
and the whole like what's the opposite of the tactic of the red pill approach to one-itis, which is get over it, right? She's not that into you. Move on. Plenty of other fish in the sea. Blah blah blah. What's the opposite of that? Stalkers.
So because the red pill encourages men not to stalk, and just says you're experiencing one-itis, it's a cult.
Oh God.
Oh, this is so fucking stupid. But I don't know. Is it a satire of articles like this?
I don't know. I'm still not sure. Like,
if you look at the comments, they're taking this shit literally.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it is actually sincere. I think it's genuine. I mean, usually with a satire article that is like, it's very Poe-like, right? So it would be very difficult to tell. Right? You have someone using a name like Ann Gus, right? Who wrote a few articles on Medium, pretending it was a guy, it was a dude, who was swole and totally lifts bro, who was writing articles pretending to be a feminist woman, right? There's usually some kind of tell in there that's, and this would be the venue. This would not be the venue to choose to write this article unless you were actually really like a rogue author trying to trick the website. Like that you're actually thinking the editor thinks I'm serious. I'm so going to troll these people. The website thinks I'm serious. The editor thinks I'm serious. All the commenters are going to think I'm serious. I'm going to do a big reveal in a month and say I made it all up and just
No, this doesn't even really feel like it because it doesn't resonate to that degree.
No.
And people are saying Cracked is a satire site. This isn't satire. They're not satirizing attitudes towards the red pill. They're trying to satire the red pill as a cult, but they're making a serious assertion that the red pill is a cult.
Well, they're doing actual research and shit. It's not like 6 reasons why making homemade porn is a worse idea than you think, which is actually an incredibly hilarious article, and everybody should go read it. I read it to my mom out loud, and I think we both need it. We broke ribs laughing.
In this case, would be like if Jonathan Swift wrote an article and the rich were actually eating poor babies.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be satirical anymore. It would be horrifying, but it wouldn't be satirical.
Wait. But it might have been satirical because he suggested that only the poor eat their babies and they skin the babies to make clothes and shoes for the rich.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
yeah, but it wouldn't be satirical if the poor were actually eating their babies, is what I'm getting at. So if
I know.
This is only satirical if they genuinely do not think that the red pill is a cult.
Or bad, or...
Well, I mean, they could still think it's bad, but not... you know what? It's incoherent. If this becomes completely incoherent if we see it as satire, so I don't think it's satire.
Yeah.
Anyway. Brian.
Another thing Scientology does that the red pill incorporates is... Number 3. Cult leaders offer a simple solution to increasingly complex world problems.
Are you kidding me? The red pill is not a simple solution. The red pill takes a lot of work. right? It's not just, oh, you have to like wake up and then you get laid, right? You know, no, it takes a lot of these guys, and I think a lot of the guys who leave, right? They leave without putting in the work, because a lot of the stuff that the red pill suggests is just simple common sense. Hit the gym, learn some good personal grooming, get a sense of style, right? Learn how to smell good, and learn how to be charming and confident. Okay, how on earth would that not help someone get laid, right? Get fit, become attractive, take care of your appearance, look like you care about yourself, right? And learn some confidence and some, I guess, titillating conversation and stuff like that, right? That would
self-help is a cult.
Yeah, that would help anybody get laid, right? That would help a woman get laid. It would help a man get laid, right? And
but that
so,
makes it simple. Therefore, it's a cult.
Yeah, well, that's not the entirety of the approach, right? A lot of the approach revolves around why you have to do these things, right? And that's, I think, what everybody takes offense to, because when you talk about why you have to do these things in order to get laid as a man, right, or to be successful with women as a man, it doesn't really reflect on women the way feminists and perhaps even the majority of society would like to think of women. We like to think of women as deep and emotional and empathetic and very concerned with emotional things, and and all of these things, right?
So what you're saying is, the red pill regards women as shallow as the greater society regards men.
Yeah, it regards them as just fellow human beings, right? Like they have their things that you might not like. Men have our things that women might not like. And you got to kind of, if you want to be successful with women, you got to figure out a way to either appeal to the women in those ways or work around the ways in which you don't appeal, right? And so if you were to say, nobody's gonna make the argument, right, that feminists are horrible people because they say men are attracted to tits and ass. How dare you say about men that men like breasts and butts? How dare you say that, right?
That men like supermodels. How dare you?
How dare you, right? No, nobody's going to say those feminists are like a hate cult because they say this about men and they imply men are this particularly shallow. But when the red pill says women they are turned on by confident men who have social status, who have social acumen, right? And who essentially understand that they need to actually be superior to the woman they're with in some ways, not in all ways, but in some ways. No woman wants to be with someone who is beneath her, right? In every respect, right? Whether that's earnings or whether that's looks or whether that's confidence or whether that's skill level and competence. No woman wants to carry a man her whole life, right? And the same, you say that of women, that this is what women prefer, and these are all, and sometimes it's his bank account, these are all superficial things that don't get into like the real heart and soul of a human being, right? And doesn't value every aspect of their personality and their humanity in exactly the same way. Like she just won't find herself as attracted to this man's giant beer gut as she will to this man's six pack, right? And therefore she's shallow, right? And you're saying women are shallow, and how dare you?
How dare you say that women are attracted to shallow
women have
things.
standards, that women, and the whole thing comes down to like the red pill. The whole thing is women have standards. Here's what the standards typically are.
I'll trust you on that because I've never really been interested in. I don't have any.
I swear to God, 90% of it is 90% of it is get in shape, right? Okay, learn some sort of learn how to make conversation, right, and be confident, right, and be sociable. And here's some tricks to help you along to do that. And when you approach a woman, don't see her potential rejection as the end of the story. See it as, okay, I learned something that I can now use to change my approach with the next woman, right? And I think that's really where, and you see this with the objection to one-itis, when one-itis in its extreme form equals stalking and possibly murder, okay, if I can't have you, no one will. That when you see it, it's the assumption that one woman is as good as the next. Don't be crushed by being rejected by this one woman that you asked if you could buy her a drink and she looked at you and went, as if. Learn something from it, move on to the next woman, and then the next one, and then the next one. And when you divorce yourself from the results in that way, it doesn't undermine your confidence. If you look at it like an experiment or a learning process rather than a task that you have to succeed at, right? Then it changes your ability to not be nervous and to not be emotionally destroyed when you get rejected. But part of that process of getting these guys to that point where they don't see the rejection as the end of the world, they don't see it as the end of the process, but part of the process, is telling them that, well, the next woman you approach is just as good as the last one.
I guess this is, but how, okay, so the end result is to try to get it so men take rejection gracefully, because that's what you're talking about, and do not focus excessively on women who are not reciprocating their interest. Why does feminism have a problem with this? Is it because they have to learn that all women aren't all special snowflakes, angels from heaven?
Yes.
And that women are shallow creatures that
Yeah.
have a certain set of very shallow criteria, and just like men, physically, what the feminism?
If you don't have a good body, you can make up for it with a good income. If you don't have a good income, you can make up for it with a good body as a man, right? But you better have one or the other or some mix of both, right? And you have to have these other criteria where, like that you're not a doormat and the whole bit, right? Otherwise, even if you do get laid, you're not going to stay laid, right? And essentially, that the whole idea that women have criteria that are on the human plane rather than the spiritual or the angelic plane, right? That's not okay.
Yeah. So the fact that women have standards and if you want to get laid, you have to live up to them. Feminists have a problem with that. Okay. You know what? This is confusing as fuck to me. I'm officially punching my card in as deeply confused by this. But let's continue.
What I've learned from my lifelong quest to get free Oakleys online is that if something is too good to be true, it usually is. Cults like Scientology and Heaven's Gate claim to have the key to unlocking the secret of life. With Scientology, the secret is that all physical and mental pain is caused by thetans in your body, and in order to get rid yourself of thetans, you must audit your way up through the ranks until you're what they call clear. The more you pay, the higher up you can move in this bridge to total freedom. And the red to freeing yourself from physical and mental setbacks.
Let him finish.
And the red pill.
I want to hear the conclusion here.
Okay.
The more you pay, the higher up you can move in this bridge to total freedom, and the closer you will be to freeing yourself from physical and mental setbacks.
It stopped again.
Yeah,
in the red pill's case, the secret is that all women have lizard brains and their pussies can be yours with a few simple tricks.
Okay,
like
wait a second.
Not
Can
taking
we
no
stop?
for an answer.
Okay, no.
What?
All
That doesn't even fucking make sense.
No. All women have lizard brains. All
True.
men have lizard brains. All humans have lizard brains. We have instincts.
All humans have sexual triggers that when they're triggered, generally fairly simple and primitive sexual triggers.
Yeah, because sex, okay, the sexual reproduction, okay, here's a primer. Sexual reproduction evolved a long, long time ago, right? Okay, and then over time, we began to see species that used sexual reproduction that also had sexes, which is different. You can have slugs, they have sex, right? But they're completely androgynous, and they are attracted to the exact same things in each other, the exact same things that snail A will find attractive in snail B will find attractive in snail A. And then they go and they glom themselves onto each other in a big mucousy ball and hang from the branch of a tree, and there you go. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's nature in action. But once one sex and another sex evolved to be different and to have different size gametes, and in particular, for the sex with the larger gametes to also bear the risks and costs of actually getting those gametes out of her body without dying. Then all of a sudden, what person A sees as attractive in person B is going to be different than what person B sees as attractive in person A.
But
all of
that's
that got programmed like 2 million years ago or earlier.
Okay, but this is so. The big thing is that the red pill. How is it that the red pill teaches men not to take no for an answer? Wouldn't this challenging one-itis tend to allow men to take no for an answer?
Just take no for a fucking answer. Give up. Move on.
Yeah, like I would say that's part of pickup artistry too. They say to men, do take no for an answer and move on. She's not interested. Move on. Who cares? She's just another meat sack floating in protoplasm. Big deal.
Yeah.
Go find yourself another meat sack.
With a lizard brain.
With a lizard brain.
Which apparently only women have, because the red pill said so, even though the red pill says no such thing. But it's an insult to women. It's an insult to women to imply that they have lizard.
It's an insult to women to imply that they're just as shallow and have shallow standards.
It's an insult to women to imply that they have instincts that were bestowed on them by the evolutionary process.
Oh God, no! All women are basically like your priest.
We're just hovering. We're just hovering over the rest of you, right? Like we're sitting in the half lotus position, hovering about 8 feet above the ground, looking down on all of the dirty, nasty men down there who are part of the human race, but we are on a plane above.
And if we reject you, it's because you're just slime. You're just scum. It's not because we're just whatever, we have lizard brains and you didn't trigger the triggers. It's because you're a horrible, awful human being. Oh, by the way, when we take all of your self-worth away, you damn well better not shoot up a school. Jesus, what do these people think that they're setting up? Why do they think that this is not actually healthier? Just to regard women as being shallow, stupid, lizard brain, just pretty much just like men. Yeah. Just like men. And everybody is sort of equally, except in women's case, you have this mythology facilitating being even worse.
Yeah.
Because the legal system and anyway, let's move on.
Okay.
That's not an exaggeration. In their glossary, they explicitly state, contrary to feminist sloganeering, no doesn't always mean no. Oftentimes, no simply means not yet. According to the red pill theory, women are not rational.
What is so horrible about that?
Yeah. Sometimes, I don't want to go out, but sometimes I do. And so when my guy is like, we should go out, and I'm like, no, And he's like, you never want to go out. And then the next time he asks me, I'll be like, yeah. And he'll be like, fucking finally. But what world would we live in? What kind of relationship would we have if when he's like, let's go out and play a game of pool, and I said no, and then he's like, that means no forever.
God, Jesus Christ.
Like that she said no, and that is no until the end of time.
No more pool for you.
No more ever.
Oh, and by the way, I personally would find being pestered to play a game of pool worse than being pestered to have sex. Just personally.
Oh, fuck. Well, because a game of pool lasts like half an hour or
Yeah,
more.
well,
and it requires skill, right? Whereas being pestered and if you let him know that he's pestering you and you're not really into it, but you're willing to suck his dick a little bit, he's not really going to expect much. And it'll be like 5 minutes and then it's all done. And you didn't really have to put any effort into it.
I guess it's our internalized misogyny. I'm just running down the list of all the things that are actually worth pestered. Pestered to write out Christmas cards. Fucking hell.
Yeah, no, that's actually see
pestered to retweet someone's fucking tweet.
Yeah, no, I don't do that. And like pestered to like I don't know, mow the lawn. I would rather like suck a dick when I didn't feel like it than mow the lawn. I would rather lie on the bottom and just enjoy. And there is something enjoyable even if you're not really into it in the beginning, right? And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, fine, I'll do it. I
really highly doubt that they're saying that if a woman is giving you a like full body language no, that they would advocate continuing.
Oh God, no! And the whole thing is they're essentially telling men to see the difference between a no that means no and a no that means what Louis C.K. said. Like, why didn't you just because in his comedy routine, and he's like, and so I'm backstage with this chick, and I go and kiss her, and I put my hand on her ass, and she moves it away, and then I put my hand on her boob, and she moves it away, and I'm like, okay, like clearly you're not into this, and then. The next day she's like, well, why didn't you just like jump on me and just do it? And he's like, what do you mean, like rape you? Right? Like, I'm not going to rape somebody just on the off chance that they're into it. Like,
oh, that was a great response though. And if the red pill does teach, why don't they just teach the mystery method? If the woman says no, then you stop everything and go do something else by yourself.
Yeah. Make a sandwich.
Go make a sandwich. Go make yourself a sandwich. Pour yourself a beer. Start the game up. Oh, you're still here?
Yeah.
I thought you said no.
Yeah.
You can. The door's that way. See how fast that no turns around. Okay, let's move on.
All right.
In theory, women are not rational. They can't be because they are children. That's their words, not mine. The red pill followers believe that women stop maturing intellectually around the teenage years, and they will lie about what they want because, much like children, they don't truly know what they want. Therefore, you must never take no for an answer.
What?
Theory of mind. If you think about the respective sex roles for men and women in terms of theory of mind, the pursuer role actually requires you to have an understanding of theory of mind that's much deeper than the pursuant role, because you have to model desire and the sense of desire and what is desirable and who you're pursuing. So by its definition, the male role in our society, which isn't necessarily the male role like our everybody's parents choose their partners for them, so that isn't necessarily as clearly cut as it is in our society. But in our society, the male role actually encourages them to mature a sense of theory of mind, whereas the female role doesn't.
Yeah, so, it takes more brain to stalk a prey animal than it does to run away from a predator.
Yeah, but specifically, it takes the ability to understand the mental processes of the person that you are pursuing,
and be able to predict their actions and all of that.
And be able to predict their actions and all of that. And so the male role in the dance of sex in our society, because again, other societies, it's usually the parents choosing your mate for you. In our society, really does encourage men to develop a theory of mind, and you either use it or you lose it. So if feminists really don't like this framing, maybe they should encourage women to be more aggressive. And not just more aggressive and then have the expectation, but more aggressive and have the expectation that they have to understand what men desire. And they have to understand see the men's mentality as something that needs to be catered to or understood and seduced and appreciated and predicted.
Yeah.
Then you will develop more of a theory of mind, because that's the only way. You have to actually attempt to model it and have some sort of, there has to be an incentive to do it as well. There's a huge incentive for men to understand what makes women attracted, to try to develop that attraction. There's a huge incentive there, not so much for women.
You know what else I find interesting about this criticism is, because it is actually true that men mature more slowly than women, right? And so when you actually frame it in a positive way, women mature more quickly than men do, right? Women mature at an earlier age than men do, right? Then it's, oh, that's great, because we're attributing something to women that says they're better than men. They're more mature, right? And girls in their teens do tend to be more mature. That was one of the reasons why the drinking age in the United States was raised to 21, was because for the longest time in some states it was 18 for women and 21 for men, because the law recognized that men matured more slowly than women did. And so women could be trusted to drink in a semi-responsible manner at an earlier age than men could, right? And there was a push, under equality laws, and instead of lowering it to 18 for both men and women, they raised it to 21 because they didn't want to risk letting all these irresponsible men get a hold of the beer and shit. You're old enough to give your life for your country. You're old enough to enlist in the military and make that life-changing decision. You're mature enough for that, but you're not mature enough to order a beer at a bar, right? But I digress. Essentially, when you state it in such a way that it's flattering to women, then, oh my goodness, it's absolutely 100% true. But when you state the exact same thing, which is that after women are done maturing intellectually and emotionally, men continue to mature for up to 5 or even 7 years, right? And sometimes exceed women in their level of maturity because of that, right? And anyone who wants to know more about how that happens, neoteny, look up neoteny opposite, which is known as acceleration, right? And when you expand the periods during which, the windows during which certain aspects of our brains develop and certain aspects of our physiology develop and all of those things, right? Your teeth, as your adult teeth, as a human being, are going to be much stronger and much more resistant to decay if they erupted at age 15 than if they erupted at age 9, because they just had a lot more time to develop and form under your gums before they erupted, right? And so essentially, when you extend those periods of development, you actually have a stronger development of those particular things, right? So women are faster than men. Oh my goodness, that's so flattering to women. Yeah, men fucking travel a longer distance. Oh, that's a diss on women, and it's horrible, and it's not allowed.
Okay, so I think it's unfortunately I'm going to have to call it, because we are now over the hour, and I said that we would be going live. And just to give you some information before we go out to finish this off in the after show. If you're currently a patron, we're trying to move over to the monthly system. So if you would go to www.patreon.com/honeybadgerradio and put your total monthly max in your per show amount, and then set your amount of times that you want to support us to 1, that would be greatly appreciated. It will definitely facilitate this process for those people who have not done this to do it. And if you are not currently a patron and you wish to listen to this after show and every after show thereafter, the after show, please do go to www.patreon.com/honeybadgerradio. You don't have to pledge much to get access to the after shows. Not much at all. All right, Brian, are you still there? Or are you talking to Kraut and T?